Hey guys, welcome back to Crafting Princesses. Today's tutorial will be on how I make my iron-on vinyl shirts with my Cricut machine. So today I'm going to be making the one-year-old Minnie Mouse themed onesie. So here I already have my Minnie Mouse / Mickey Mouse head and bow, which I purchased through my Cricut Access account, which you can also buy when you have a Cricut machine for $10 a month, and it is worth it if you do a lot of projects. So here I'm going to show you how I prepare everything to be cut by the machine. I'm going to first highlight the head, and I'm going to base the size of everything around that. So I've already measured my onesie and have determined that I want the head itself to be 5.3 inches in height, and it will automatically adjust the width to match that. So the width comes out to 6.2. You want to adjust this depending on the size of the shirt that you are using. And then the bow, actually, the size is perfect the way that I want it. And if it wasn't though, you can adjust the size of the bow here. Now, what I want to do is slice these two items. The slice function only works when you're using two pieces at a time, no more than two. So I'm doing the bow in separate pieces. So I highlighted the bow and the head at the same time and hit slice. Now I want to weld my bow together because, as you can see here, it was also sliced into two separate pieces. So I'm just going to hit weld, and then I'm going to change the color to purple just so I can better see my project while in the design space. Now moving it back over here, I want to slice out that little piece in the middle where the circle of the bow will go. Now, if you could see here, the circle goes to the back. All you have to do is hit arrange and move to front, and now you can clearly see it. Adjust that middle piece to exactly where you would be placing it when you iron it on the shirt. Anytime you make a mistake, you can hit the undo button and everything goes back, just so you know. And then I'm going to slice these two pieces. Again, remembering that you can only slice two pieces at a time. So I'm going to move the head aside and weld my circle back together because that was also sliced, and then change that color to purple. You can change this to any color you want. I'm just working with purple for the purposes of this video. Now, if you can see there's a little tiny piece that was left behind. So to get rid of that, I'm going to insert just a basic shape that can cover it. So I'm inserting a circle, making it smaller so it can fit in that space and completely cover the area that I want to remove. Highlight those two pieces, hit slice, move the head to the side, and then delete the circle and the little piece that you cut. So now I have a clean cut Minnie Mouse head, and I will explain later in the video why I sliced this to begin with, why I'm not going to layer my vinyl on top of each other. Next, I'm going to use a font that I got from dafont.com. That's DAFONT.com. I'll leave a link in the description box below. And I'm going to type in the number 1 and change it to purple so I can see it on top of the head. If you guys want a separate tutorial on how I download fonts from DaFont, please let me know in the comments below and I can do a tutorial on that. Now I'm going to highlight the 1 and the head together and hit slice. And before I move anything, I'm just going to change the 1 back to purple. Okay, so I have everything set up here. Now I want to add the name using the same font, which is Waltograph. And I'm going to write in the name for this project. So here I'm just going to expand the size based on the size of the head. And then I'm going to line that up with the center. So if you can see here, there's a yellow line that appears, and it lines up exactly with the 1 and the center of the head, and that's the middle. So I want it there. Now I'm going to put the bow back in its place. And on the iPad, you can zoom in using both of your fingers, and if you need to move across the screen, you would have to use both of your fingers as well to navigate. Now from here, everything is a separate piece. So I'm going to move the head out of the way and then highlight the bow, the one, and the name and hit attach. What that does is it makes it one solid piece so that it can cut it all out at one time and it will be placed exactly where I want it when I iron. So from here, I'm going to click Make It in the bottom right hand corner, and that brings me to my mats. Now because I had made everything a different color, it's going to put everything on a separate mat. You want to make sure you mirror your image before you cut anything. Then you want to cut out your vinyl that you're using, and it shows you here exactly where to place it on your mat. You can move this around as well if you would like, but you want to cut your piece to match the size that you'll be cutting. Now from here, make sure you connect to your machine by Bluetooth. So once it finds the machine, select it, and then it will connect. Now again, remember that you hit mirror. Now for the Minnie Mouse head, I'm going to be using a glitter iron-on vinyl. So on my machine itself, I set the dial to custom, and then from here, I'm going to select the material that I'll be cutting. So I'm going to go down to iron-on and select the glitter iron-on option. Here we are at my actual mat. I'm using a standard grit mat, and I'm using the gold glitter iron-on vinyl by Cricut brand itself, and one side is shiny and the other side is dull. You'll want to put the shiny side down on your mat and the dull side facing up. The shiny side is the carrier sheet, and then I've already cut that to the size that I need for my project. And you can use a scraper to make sure that there are no air bubbles and that it is laying flat on your mat. Now take that over to your machine and you want to place it right under those two little tabs that hold it in place before you load it. Once you're ready, you can hit continue on your iPad and then load it into the machine. Once it's ready, the Cricut icon will blink and you'll select that and it will cut out your project for you. As far as the gold glitter vinyl that I'm using here, I actually prefer the Cricut brand for this color. It's a darker gold versus the Siser Easyweed gold glitter is a lighter gold, kind of closer to a champagne color, which I also like, but for this particular project, I just prefer the Cricut brand. But you can use any color, any brand that you'd like. Once it has finished cutting, you'll hit the unload button and pull it out of the machine. And then gently, you'll want to remove your project from the mat. Don't yank at it, it will cause creases or tearing. And because I'm holding my iPad, it's a little difficult for me to do this because I'm doing it one-handed. So I'm slowly rolling the project off the mat. And then once you have that off, you'll use your weeding tool to weed out the areas that you don't want on your final image. You will then load everything for your second piece, and don't forget to mirror your image. Now I'm using a regular vinyl. I'm actually using a Siser Easyweed pink vinyl. I will leave a link for that as well in the description box. So I have the pink side facing down and the white side facing up. And this is a regular iron-on, so it's not the glitter iron-on, so I've set my actual dial to the iron-on setting, not custom. Now if you see there my mat, it didn't load correctly the first time, so make sure you unload and reload again. You want it to be even, otherwise it will move your project and it will cut it incorrectly. So from here, I've already hit the Cricut icon, and then it's going to cut out my second piece for me. Now that I've had all of my pieces cut out, I'm going to show you how I adhere it to my onesie. Originally, when I had made this, I had made the image too small. So I actually didn't like the size of it against the size of the bodysuit or the onesie. And so if you can see here, it had cut it as one piece. Now because I had cut it too small, I ended up having to redo it and I made it larger, which are the sizes that I had mentioned in the beginning of the video. So this one here is 5.3 inches in height and 6.2 inches wide. Now I didn't want to waste any more vinyl. So I cut out my 3 pieces separately rather than as one piece as I had shown you in the video. If you want it to be easier when you are ironing, keep it as one piece. If you're wanting to save or conserve your vinyl, you can cut it as 3 separate pieces because you can place them closer together on the mat and you won't have any wasted vinyl in the middle of those pieces, if that makes sense. So here, to iron onto your item, your shirt or your onesie, you'd want to use an ironing board with soft cushion and a pressing pillow underneath. And here I have my iron setting to cotton linen, which is the highest. Now I can't find my ironing board. I'm not sure where it is, or my pressing pillow. So I'm going to be using just a tabletop and just going to work a little extra hard on making sure everything is secure to the shirt. But again, you want to use an ironing board and a pressing pillow if you have one underneath. Typically, I would fold this in half to find the middle, but the one is center for me already. So to find the center of the shirt, I'm going to fold it in half by matching the sleeves and lining that up exactly. Once I have that folded in the center, I'll use my iron and make a crease down the middle. And that will be my guideline for placing my image on the shirt. So there you can see I have a little crease, and I'm going to put the 1 right on top of that crease. As far as where to place this from the neckline, a pretty good way to measure that is by using 2 fingers from the neckline down. So this would be for infants and toddler shirts. I use about 2 fingers, and that's where your project should start. So again, see there, it's 2 fingers, and I'm satisfied with where this is at, so I'm going to press that down. And just make sure everything is centered, because once you iron this bad boy down, you cannot take it back. And then I'm going to be using this Teflon sheet, which I purchased from Amazon. I think it was a 5-pack for about $10. And this protects your project. So you're going to place this on top of your carrier sheet, just like that. And then using the iron, you want to go section at a time. Now, if you are not using a heat press, you want to put weight on your iron. So you want to press down. You don't want to move the iron around. You want to keep it in place, pressing firmly against your project. You want to follow the instructions based off of the vinyl that you're using, because it differs from brand to brand, and whether you're using iron-on or regular, the heat settings can be different. So make sure to pay attention to that. So I'm just doing a section at a time, pressing down firmly on my iron. Now, because I'll be layering, I'm not doing a full press to start with, because I will be pressing it over and over and over again as I add each piece. So I just want to make sure it is secure to the shirt before I move to the next piece. So I have no lifting here, so I'm just going to remove the carrier sheet, and then I can move on to the next piece. I'm placing my bow next. I'm placing that right inside the lines. Now this is why I sliced it. So as you can see, the bow is made using a regular vinyl. There's no glitter, and the Minnie Mouse head has glitter. You cannot layer regular vinyl, regular iron-on vinyl over glitter, because you'll actually see the bumps underneath, and the regular vinyl will be somewhat transparent, so you would see everything underneath it, and you don't want that. So by using the slice function, you can remove those pieces. That way, when you apply your iron-on vinyl, it's adhering directly to the onesie and not the glitter vinyl. I actually prefer to slice anywhere that I can, just so that it is getting a good placement, or a good, is being placed securely onto the onesie. The same with the one here. So I don't want to layer it over my glitter vinyl. That is why I sliced it out. That way it attaches directly to the shirt and not the vinyl underneath it. So from here, you're going to just do a quick little 10-second press to get that down before we move on to the name. And then, as I had mentioned earlier, make sure you're putting a lot of pressure on your iron if you're not using a heat press. I can remove my carrier sheet from the one and do it slowly, just in case it lifts. If it lifts at all, just put everything back down and iron it a little longer. Now I'm going to center my name. Luckily, this has 5 letters, so I actually have a middle point, which is the E, and I'm going to line that up with my number 1. Now, this is where if you don't feel that you would do it the best way by ironing down each piece separately, that maybe you feel you won't get it at an even placement, that's why you'd want to cut it as one piece. That way you know for a fact it will be centered with the Minnie Mouse head. Once you have that down, remove the last carrier sheet, and then you'll want to put your Teflon sheet back over and do one more press over the entire image with no carrier sheets in the middle. You want to do this for about 5 seconds. You don't want to overheat your vinyl because it can melt. So again, make sure you're following the instructions for the brand that you're using. So here is the finished project, and I don't know if you can see through the video here, but the way to know if everything is good to go is, especially using like regular iron-on, you can see the weaving pattern of the shirt underneath the vinyl, so you'll know that it is good and ready to go. Make sure there's no lifting anywhere, and then I like to do a press from the back. I do also use my Teflon sheet for this. So just a quick press on the back side. Here I don't apply too much pressure, I just like iron as if I was ironing a regular shirt. And flip it over, and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know if you want to see more tutorials like this, and if there's anything specific that you would like me to address when it comes to a Cricut machine or just creating designs for onesies or shirts for your tutu creations. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and I will catch you all next time. Thanks for watching.